Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to James Cameron.
I almost bailed on being a filmmaker. It's about sitting in that big dark room with all those other people you don't know, and something's going to come up on that screen that's going to take you somewhere.
I'm the king of the world! And welcome back to James Cameron 101. Today is a pretty unique episode for the podcast because this is a guest that I have never met in person. I've literally only ever seen what they post on X and Instagram and Letterboxd, and they are super, super passionate about this guy right here, Mr. Cameron, as am I. So it only felt fitting that we get Elvira on. Go to sleep, Elvira is the @ so I'll make sure I have all the information down below in the description, the show notes, if you want to follow her. Feel free. She's on Letterboxd, Instagram, X, and she just says some of the most absolutely amazing things. Some of the things I have saved here. I'm going to read some of these off before we bring her on here. James Cameron is my dream girl. If you dislike James Cameron's Oscar speech, you are mean and evil and a bully and also mean. I am 100% plant-based. This is a quote, I guess, from James Cameron. And she follows up with, okay, Jim, what are you, like a beautiful, gorgeous flower? I need to clock into work in about 3 minutes, but I need to tweet about Terminator 2. And then personally, one of my favorites right now, RIP T2-3D on Letterboxd. You had a good run, which I only felt fitting is the final one that I read because that's how I found Elvira. I found her on Letterboxd. Her and I guess, share a similar passion for T2-3D, and for some reason on Letterboxd, again, I'll make sure I have hers linked down below. For some reason on Letterboxd, T2-3D comes and goes. It's like on there for like a few weeks and then it's gone. And then somehow miraculously it appears again. And I put it in my favorites and I hope that saves it, and it doesn't. So I think we need to have more people put it in their favorites. I'm done chatting. Let's bring in our guest today. It is Elvira.
Hello.
Oh.
It was a great introduction. I did not expect my tweets to ever be read out loud.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You got some good ones.
Thank you. Also, thanks for inviting me on.
Yes.
I would have never thought that my that the Letterboxd reviews that I just like to put out into the void out there would ever get me invited onto a podcast. So I'm just like, wow.
Well, it's only fitting that it's because this is James Cameron 101, and literally, I don't know. I thought I was a big fan, but you kind of put me to shame.
You know, when I clicked on your Letterboxd profile for the first time, I was like, oh wow, you know, because I was like, wow, this guy's like on a similar level to me, which is rare.
Right.
I'm gonna say it of myself. And then all my friends were like, Elvira, you need to go onto this podcast because if there is someone who can talk about James Cameron, it's you. So I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So now I'm here.
So before we went to the recording of this whole thing, you were going to start talking about the T2-3D thing. So I want you to go ahead and talk about that.
I would love to talk about it. This is so funny. But you already pointed this out. I have been fascinated with the phenomenon that Terminator 2 3D gets like periodically put up on Letterboxd and then taken down again. But the thing is, I'm a person. One of my favorite things to do in my free time is to just go onto James Cameron's Letterboxd profile and to just refresh and see what's up. And I notice every single little change that they make. Like recently they changed his profile picture and I was like running to my friend. I was like, they changed James Cameron's Letterboxd profile picture. Which I thought so silly. But they used to have the Martini Ranch music video up there. Like years ago. Yes. Like, and I didn't really appreciate the fact that it was on there like years ago. I think it was in 2022 when Avatar 2 was coming out, because I have like old screenshots that I made that I have on my phone. I don't have them anymore, but I have them. I used to have them somewhere where it's like Terminator 2 3D, and then there's Martini Ranch, and it's on Letterboxd. And I'm so mad that they took that down.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what's interesting? I don't know. Do you do this? Because everything on Letterboxd is sourced from something called the movie
Yes.
database.
Uh-huh.
Do you go on there? Because I go on there and I've actually added. So if you go onto the T2 3D, well, are you a patron on Letterboxd?
I'm not, no.
So you don't have the option to change posters?
I don't, no. But I know that they
So-
sourced from TMD, yeah.
So I am a patron on there because I want that option. And so I went on to the T2 3D part of the movie database and I added extra posters myself for people to change. And so I don't know why it keeps coming off. It's like a very active thing. Like they clearly see there's activity on T2 3D. I don't know why.
It's so weird. And they constantly like put stuff up and take it down again. But Terminator 2 3D, it's crazy because I have like a whole. It's kind of like as you said, it's kind of like a battle. It's kind of like you're like every time they put it up, I'm like, okay, how long until this is down again? Like last time they did it, I was like, I'm giving this a week max. I was like, I'm not trusting this. They did leave it up very long, actually. I was impressed with how long they left it up.
Like I said, I think maybe more people need to put it. So maybe you should put it in your favorites when it pops back up.
When it pops back up, so that they know that people love it and that we want the people want Terminator 2 3D on Letterboxd.
Right. Because I mean, it gets a lot of reviews, but it didn't have a lot of people putting it in their favorites, and so maybe that's why.
I think it's because probably because it's a theme park ride. The only other theme park ride I ever remember being on Letterboxd was, God, I don't remember how it's called, but it's that one for Disneyland. I think that Leonard Nimoy directed, which I only found out because I was browsing Leonard Nimoy's profile. And I saw it there, but I also don't think they have that up anymore. So maybe Letterboxd just doesn't count theme park rides, which I guess that technically makes sense. Right. But it's still weird that it's up sometimes. Like, I wish they would just be consistent. But oh well.
Well, what's weird about what's very weird about Letterboxd is they don't count that, which is, that's an actual film, but they have a bunch of like making ofs and like featurettes and everything, and it's like,
which they're super inconsistent with the featurettes too, which always pisses me off because whenever I watch like a new featurette or something, on like a Blu-ray or something, I'm like, can I log this on Letterboxd? And then sometimes you can log it on Letterboxd, but then sometimes I can, and then I'm like, no.
Crazy.
Well.
How long have you been on Letterboxd?
How long? I think must have been like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a niche thing, like not a lot of people, even like people that I know that love movies, I say, are you on Letterboxd? And they're like, what's Letterboxd?
I actually got I got like so many of my friends to download Letterboxd.
I know, me too.
And then they get other people to download Letterboxd, but it all comes back to me. I was the first person in my friend group to have downloaded Letterboxd. Yep. Yeah, and it's really funny, when you like finish like a movie and then everybody's just like on Letterboxd
logging it. Yep. Do you because they have a merch site? Have you picked up? There's a shirt that they sell. And it has like iconic movie props, and one of the iconic movie props that it has on there is the Heart of the Ocean.
Oh really? Oh, I've never checked the Letterboxd merch shop. Maybe I have to.
Yeah, it's like 30. Cool. It's like $30 here in the States. So I don't know what that would. So
it's probably going to be really expensive for international shipping.
Right. Because you're based you're based in Austria.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I know.
Because like when we were messaging, I was like, wait, hold on. So do you sound like Arnold?
I wish my accent was even half as awesome as Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's kind of like, he's really important to me. I don't know. He's kind of like a cultural icon to me.
Yeah. Same.
You know, this is crazy. One of my friends, she actually visited the birth because you can visit Arnold Schwarzenegger's birth house.
Yeah.
You can visit it. And she actually visited it, and she sent like a bunch of pictures of it, and it's like, oh my god, this is his childhood bed. This is where he slept. It's really funny.
But clearly, I mean, obviously, if you had to pick one to meet, you would pick Cameron.
Yeah.
You'd be like, sorry, Arnie, sorry,
I love you, but I need to meet up with James Cameron.
Okay, so let's try to figure this out because I'm very curious. How did this obsession start?
Okay. So the thing is, I've been obviously, if you exist as a person in the world, you're going to be aware of James Cameron's movies. I mean, this is like, I mean, he makes like some of the most popular movies ever. So but this actually started back in, I must have said, must have been like 2021. Yeah. I already liked some of his movies before that. Like I always liked Titanic. And then at some point I watched Aliens, and I really liked Aliens. And then I watched Terminator. And there's actually a really funny anecdote about that, because, you know, on the Aliens special edition, the extended cut, there's like this little bit that he does, like Jim Cameron does, as like an introduction, where he's like, oh guys, Jim Cameron here. You're watching the extended edition, like on all of the Blu-rays. And I watched that, and I was like, and he's like, I'm Jim Cameron. And I'm like, who is Jim Cameron? Is he related to James Cameron? Is this like his brother?
Right, Jim and James.
Jim and James. And then I've like a few hours later, I was like, he's the same guy.
Yeah. Well, that's that's like when people are like, they're named Richard, but they go by Dick. They go by Dick.
And I'm like, why? Where's the correlation?
Where's it come from? I don't get it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And then anyways, and I was like, wow, this guy makes great movies, you know. And then there was Avatar, and I was like one of these people, I didn't really understand Avatar at first. I was like, okay, it's so popular, but why is it so popular? So that really like boggled my mind. So I really don't know how to explain this. It's kind of like getting sucked into a black hole, because you know James Cameron, and he is such an interesting and such a fascinating person. You know, you learn like one thing, and you just keep learning more about him, and you're like, wow, what? And then it just keeps going, and you just get sucked into this black hole. You're like, wow, this is like the most insane, the coolest guy ever. Why is nobody talking about this?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's sort of like he's really only ever in the spotlight when he's either releasing a movie or when something like the Titan thing that happened with the implosion.
Oh my god, that was so crazy. That was such a wild summer.
Right. And then so they're like, hey, let's ask Cameron what he thinks, you know.
Let's ask and last year was so crazy too, because I already was completely in James Cameron land at that point. And everybody on Twitter, they were like, wait, James Cameron does deep ocean exploration? And I was like, where have you guys been?
Yep.
He's been doing this for what, since 1995?
Yeah. So he is definitely, I mean, obviously he's, in my opinion, the greatest. He's the GOAT of all time. And it really is a quantity over quality thing. He doesn't have a whole lot of movies, you know?
He does not. We have to sustain ourselves on very little.
Right. Which sort of sucks, you know. Like I kind of wish he was like Steven Spielberg, that has like 30 movies, you know.
Yeah.
But
but
you know, it is what it is.
But the thing is that the things that he does have, there's so much substance. I find out new things about James Cameron every single day, which I literally don't know how this is possible. Every time I find out, sometimes it's not even much. I can go insane about like the littlest piece of information ever. And then I still learn new stuff about him every day, and I'm always like, wow.
So where did the idea for you to take a photo of him and stick lesbian on there? Where did that come from?
How do I explain this? Well, I think it was like, this is like a joke, which kind of James Cameron is a lesbian. It's like, because I'm a lesbian, obviously, but it's like, it's kind of like a joke that, okay, not a lot of people make this joke, but it comes up where people are like joking, like, yeah, James Cameron is like an honorary lesbian. This is really kind of hard to explain.
Okay.
But then it was Pride Month, and I I slap a flag on my profile picture, but this time I was like, I don't want that. It's kind of too tacky. So I was like, and I kind of want James Cameron as my profile picture, and then I was like, I'm just gonna do that.
How do you think, if you were to sit down one-on-one in person, not even like this, like in person, and you were to show him your phone with lesbian, how do you think he would react?
I have no idea. I sincerely hope that I never have to explain that in my life to him ever. I think he would be. He would probably be fascinated.
Yeah,
I suppose.
He'd be like, "Wow, why?
He'd be like, "Wow, why?
Yeah, why?
What? How do you? What?"
I've never been a lesbian in my life.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so okay, so you have like 20, I think it said when I looked, like you have like 27,000 posts.
I talk a lot.
Right. How many of those would you think are Cameron related out of the 27,000?
The thing is, a lot. Especially a lot. The thing is, I used to tweet more about like Star Trek a couple years ago because I was really active in the Star Trek space. And I didn't really want to tweet about James Cameron on main to say as much because I felt like I was kind of annoying everybody because, it's not as big. But then at some point I was just like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to talk about James Cameron. And all of my followers that had followed me because of Star Trek, you are just going to have to live with the fact that I am going to be talking about James Cameron all the time.
Right. Okay.
So I talk about him a lot.
Right, you do, and a lot of it, I'm just like, wow, that's like, I wish I could write that, but it doesn't even pop into my head to write that.
Well, thank you so much. When you read out my tweets in the intro, I was like, wow, I would have never thought that someone could be such a huge fan of the stuff. I'm like, wow, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm constantly reposting it, so.
Yeah, I see that always. I feel very, very honored.
Do you think subconsciously maybe one of the reasons you really like Cameron is because he is really good friends with somebody from Austria?
I do think about this sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, Jay, I don't know if you have seen this clip, but I think about it all the time. It's a clip from, it's like a Zoom call, kind of like this, with James Cameron and Arnold, where they're talking about like environmentalism or something. It's like from Austrian World Summit or something, from like Arnold's Stammtisch. And there's this hilarious clip where Arnold Schwarzenegger pulls out this gigantic beer mug, and then James Cameron is like, "Whoa, that's a huge beer mug." And then he's like, and then Arnold's like, "Yeah, it's part of the Stammtisch." And James Cameron is like, "So what kind of beer are you drinking?" And Arnold's like, "Well, I don't want to say what kind of beer I'm drinking. I don't want to do a promotion." And then James Cameron is like, "But it's a good Austrian lager." And I do also wonder if he has ever been to Austria. I don't think he has, but I think he should.
All right, I'm pulling it up here because I wanna watch it. I want to watch this with you.
It's so funny. I don't know. It's like an hour-long thing.
Right.
I don't know exactly when it is. So just skim through it and see when Arnold pulls up the mug. It's pretty big. You can't miss it.
All right. Now let's see.
This is huge. This is like very culturally significant for me right now. This is very, as an Austrian, I feel so seen by James Cameron right now.
You know what? And your real name is Elvira, yes?
Yeah, it is.
Well, first of all, that's amazing because when I think of Elvira, I think of Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark.
Yes, I think
I think a lot of people do.
I think I do. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why, I mean, Cameron is charming, and it's because, and this is coming from a straight guy, and this is, and this is because he has one heck of a great smile.
He does. His smile lights up my entire world.
It really does.
It's
Like
great.
watching
He's
this.
such a nice guy, which is crazy because he has this reputation of being this like super mean and like, just an asshole basically, right? Like, oh, James Cameron's an asshole. But if you actually watch interviews with him, he's so cute. I don't even know how it's been. I don't even know how I found the.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Valley's going to save us, or those smart engineers at MIT are going to save us. Look, steady progress is happening every day. Holy shit, look at that. That is a tankard.
I think I watched this clip so many times, I can quote it, like in my sleep. God.
It's great. I love how he's talking about something really serious, and then he goes, holy shit.
Holy shit. This is so huge. Right. Yeah, also, because you mentioned earlier, I think one of the main reasons on why I am so okay. Well, this is kind of difficult. There are a lot of reasons as why I think I'm so obsessed with him. It's also because I think I kind of see myself in him sometimes. He's kind of like sometimes I just watch interviews and I'm like, wow, this guy is so me. I mean, obviously he's not, but he kind of is. He's kind of a relatable guy sometimes.
Well, he is, and then on the other hand,
on the other hand, he's like,
I can't imagine him like doing normal mundane things. I can't imagine James Cameron driving a car to like a supermarket or something. You know what I mean?
Have you read that article where he talks about his morning routine?
I don't think. No. What is it?
So he's like, he gets up at like 5:30 in the morning. I could not do that. No. And then he
that's when you're going to sleep, right?
Yeah, that's when I'm going to sleep. Like, what are you doing awake? Well, I think this is a recent development. I think he also used to have like if you read like old stuff where he talks about his life in like the 80s and 90s, I don't think he always had a great sleep rhythm, frankly. But and then he's like, and then in the morning I do yoga or kickboxing. Whoa. In the morning. And then he's like, and then I make myself a green smoothie.
Wow.
And then he drinks his green smoothie, and then he like continues on with the rest of his day or something like that. Okay. Yeah.
Like when there was some interview he was given, and he was like, when I wake up in the morning and I put my socks on, and I actually was going to include that in my intro, but it was a little too long. I couldn't find a way to cut around it. But I loved hearing him say that because I can't even imagine him putting socks on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's too
mundane. It's too mundane.
It's too mundane, right? Or, when you like read, I have really dug through I've dug through the depths of this man's life. It's kind of insane. Like the stuff that the stuff that he casually dropped. Like, for example, I don't know if you have read Tech Noir, his art book, right? But the stuff that he just casually drops there when he's like, yeah, I used to go to these illegal car races at night, and then I'd come home the next day and I'd draw drawings inspired of that. I'm like, what do you mean you went to illegal car races at night, James Cameron? Like, baby, sorry, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. I do have that book. That book is gorgeous.
It's amazing. Actually, I have it next to me right now. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Go ahead, show it.
I got it here. It's like the Bible. It's a Bible to me, basically. It's awesome. It's so thick. It's great. It's the most beautiful thing I own.
What's kind of weird, and it's fine that it's on there, but it's weird that there's a foreword by Del Toro. I would almost want there to be. I mean, Arnold is maybe a little too obvious. Maybe like a foreword by Michael Biehn or something. You know what I mean? Like, why Guillermo del Toro?
Well, because they're good friends. I don't know if you know this, but
because he was in the story of science fiction, right?
Yeah, no. Did you know that Guillermo del Toro's father was like held ransom in the 90s, and James Cameron helped pay the ransom money to get his father free? This happened at some point. Also, they're just really good friends. They're really good friends. That's why he was like in the story of science fiction. So I guess that's why they picked him for the forward.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is also one of those insane things that I read about. I was just like skimming through his Wikipedia article for fun, as you do, and then it's like James Cameron and Guillermo James Cameron helped pay the ransom money when Guillermo del Toro's father was kidnapped, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. You know what? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, of course he did that. Sure.
But you do have to kind of take Wikipedia with a grain of salt, right?
You do. But I think this is an actual thing that happened.
Did he talk about it? Because I haven't read all of
don't
Tech
know.
Noir. Did he talk about it in Tech Noir?
He does not, unfortunately.
All right.
But
So,
yeah.
you're like me. You collect. I have. If I were to grab my camera off the computer right now and
I do collect
and go into the next room, I have a whole. I'll send you a photo afterwards. I have a whole
cool.
photo, or I'll send you a photo of my entire shelf, and
that's so cool.
I collect all the different like variations of VHS, DVD, Blu-ray.
I do that too.
Different languages. So like I saw one that you have the Titanic in the Austrian version of.
I have the German VHS here.
The German VHS, yes.
Oh, do you want to know about my collection?
Yeah.
So, well, most of the thing is, I get most of my DVDs and stuff. I get them from thrift stores and secondhand stores. And whenever I see like James Cameron, I immediately grab it. They're like, right. I view those. I have 6 copies of I have 6 physical copies of the first Avatar movie. I have the regular theatrical cut DVD twice, and the reason why I have it twice is because whenever I go to like a secondhand store and I check the DVD section and I see a lonely Avatar sitting there, I'm just like, well, I can't leave it here. It's kind of like seeing a lost puppy on the street in the rain, and you're just, I have to take it in.
Right.
Yeah. So I've thought about this recently. I was like, wow, I do really have a quite the collection. Well, it's not, but I do have quite the small collection.
Do you have any within reach that you can grab, or is it?
Well, within reach? I would have to get up. But I.
Or can you pan your camera over?
I don't really have it. You can't really see it that well. So, and unfortunately, I also don't have it all collected in one place. I am actually planning on putting together a shelf finally, because, fun fact, this week actually, I went to the mall, and I was not planning on buying anything. I was like, okay, I just got paid. I'm not gonna spend my money. Then I go into the store, and there sits. I don't have them here right now, unfortunately. But there sits the Titanic 25th Anniversary Collector's Edition. The big fancy one with the book.
Right.
Yeah, and then they also had the Terminator 2 30th Anniversary Edition with the vinyls inside. I saw it and I was like,
well, I'm spending money.
I was like, okay, this is gonna cost me. But I'm gonna do it, So, those are my newest items in my collection.
Yeah, I every week, I get paid every other week. So every other week I try to do thrifting because there's nothing like finding something out in the wild.
Right.
But a lot of times it's like it doesn't happen because I live in Savannah, Georgia, and so it's kind of hard to find, and there's not a lot of thrift stores around. So a lot of times I have to go online, eBay, stuff like that. So usually I'm just skimming through, like late at night, I'll just be on eBay and I'll type in cool James Cameron stuff or whatever, you know what I mean? And just see what pops up. And
that's a good way to go. I'm always hunting for these, and I go with my friends to the flea markets, and we're just like, we're going like, we're going through all of the things. And what's your favorite
format of home media? Like like Laserdisc, VHS?
I wish I owned Laserdiscs. My favorite form is probably Blu-rays or 4Ks. I really like 4Ks. Blu-rays but I also really like DVDs because I think they're kind of charming, But when I actually do want to watch the movie, I always opt for Blu-ray or 4K if I have it on 4K. because the picture quality is just better.
Right.
Right. But I do one thing that makes me really sad about like the new 4K releases. I'm sure you also have them, like the new James Cameron 4K releases. The menus are just not what they used to be. They're kind of because you definitely, like the Abyss, like the old DVD menu, it's incredible. Like you go into like the deep, you go like right into the diving station, and you're like, whoa. Or they have like cool animations, but nowadays they just don't put that much effort into like the menus anymore.
They don't, because it's unfortunately 4K is probably going to be the last like format, and then it's just all going to go. It's just all going to stream.
Yeah, it's really sad. I talk about this like constantly. It makes me it makes me so sad because I love collecting physical media so much, and it makes me so sad that just a lot of stuff is just not released on like streaming in general. Like it's just really sad.
Which is pretty cool because you're 19.
Yeah.
So you're pretty young for all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Dad got me into like all of the physical collecting, which is really funny. Like I'm always like, at first I was like, I'm not gonna end up like my dad with like a huge shelf of just like DVDs and Blu-rays. And now look at me.
Right.
The thing is, I also always influence my friends. Like my best friend, she didn't even own a DVD player at first, but I was like, but you should still buy them, because maybe at some point you're gonna get a DVD player and then you own it forever. So it's my influence on people in my life, I guess.
Did the Abyss get released in theaters this past December over where you were?
No, it did not, and it made me so mad because I got so excited. When they announced that the Abyss was coming, first when they first announced it, I was in class and I was literally so excited. I had to like restrain myself. I was sitting there like, they announced the Abyss, because I have been annoying about the fact that the Abyss never got a Blu-ray release. This bothered me for so long. I was like periodically tweeting out like, I need the Abyss on Blu-ray. Why is the Abyss not out on Blu-ray yet? Because it's one of my favorite movies from James Cameron, and I think it's really sad that it's only available. There was only available on DVD, and then they announced that it's coming to Blu-ray, and I was like, well, this is the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. And then James Cameron comes on there, and he's like, it's back in theaters, and I was like, oh, it's back in theaters. Okay, I'll book my tickets immediately. But turns out only for one night and only in the US, and I was like, that's sad. I'm kind of upset.
I don't know. I don't
understand why they did that. It's really strange.
I don't either, because I mean,
if they would have released, I think I tweeted this literally yesterday. If they would have put the Abyss on like a regular worldwide release, like just a normal release, I would have made sure that it makes $1 billion at the box office.
Right. And it probably, I mean, I don't know that $1 billion, but it could have.
It could have. I know that I think it's really sad too, because I think it's one of my favorite movies from him, and I think it's the most underappreciated of his movies as a whole. People don't really talk about it as much, and I wish it got a wider release. Yeah,
but then just recently they did a 40th anniversary showing of The Terminator.
Yes. But also only in select theaters.
Only in like art house theaters.
Which I don't understand. I'm betting my hope on like the local cinemas in my area that they'll maybe show it because of 40th anniversary. But I just want to see The Terminator on a big screen.
Right. That is one of the few I have not seen on the big screen. I've seen Titanic, T2, The Abyss. I checked that off. Avatar, The Way of Water. So it's really Aliens, True Lies, and The Terminator. And then I've seen all of his movies on a big screen.
On a big screen, as it's meant to be seen, right?
His movies,
actually,
absolutely, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm just praying that in my lifetime, it's maybe you never know, I'm so glad I got to see. Yeah, sorry. I'm so glad I got to see Titanic though, because they did re-release Titanic in here too, which was great.
Yeah, that movie, I feel like they'll always do that, because that's like one
and
of
they
the
should.
movies. You know what I mean? I guess I get why The Abyss wasn't a worldwide release, because me too. You just said it's sort of like and
It
underappreciated
is.
thing, you know.
Yeah, and people don't really know it as much too. So I get it. But yeah.
Also, love the poster behind you, Aliens.
Thank
I
you.
see that.
This is actually an original poster from the cinema release from it's a German poster. But it's from
Cool.
it's from back in the day.
And then you got the Terminator up there in the
I
corner,
got
I
a Terminator
see.
poster too, yeah. And I also have a Titanic poster right here.
Oh, cool.
This
Sweet.
is the one that came with the LP, like the vinyl soundtrack. It had
Oh,
like the
okay.
little poster inside.
You hang those.
I did hang that one, yeah.
I'm always hesitant because they have all those creases.
Oh
You know what I
yes.
mean? So I'm
Yeah,
always
they
like, oh, this is gonna look
do.
so weird.
It does look kind of weird, but I'm like, I'll take it. I'll put it on my wall.
My personal favorite Titanic poster is the one that's literally just, it looks like the side of the ship.
Oh
And
yeah, I
then
saw that.
And then it just says Titanic and it says collide with
You
destiny.
have it on Letterboxd.
That's my favorite
That's a
one,
cool one.
because first of
It's
all,
so radically different.
right, it's so
It's
different,
so different.
but it's also sort of like, wow, like that's sort of a ballsy thing to say, collide
It
with
is.
destiny.
Collide with destiny.
Damn. And then
Like,
and then
wow,
and
straight
then
point.
and then it says summer, because they were going to do a summer release.
Oh, this is like the teaser poster.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so cool. Before
yeah,
they moved it.
they thought they were
Oh,
going to
that's
do
so
like a
cool.
summer release, and then obviously it
They
released
did, and then they had to move it, and which, God, I have like a magazine. I don't have it in reach right now, but recently I went to a comic store in my area, and they had like a bunch of old like sci-fi magazines stashed there, and I found one from 1997 where they talk about how Titanic, and where like Titanic was like still being made, and they're like, "Ooh, this is costing so much money." And they had to move the release date. It's really funny. The way that the press talked about Titanic, I mean, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is. And
Like,
someone who really doesn't talk about Titanic, and I've brought it up on the podcast a bunch of times, is Leonardo DiCaprio. It sort of like infuriates me how little he talks about the movie.
yeah,
You know?
which I guess I kind of get it, because I guess that was like his whole thing, and I get how you could be a little bit annoyed by that. But I also think that he secretly still cares about Titanic.
You think he
deep
still
down.
secretly cares about it?
Come on, it's Titanic.
Deep down.
Deep down in his
Deep
heart,
down.
maybe.
But it's like when they do new interviews, it's never a new
he's never
interview
there.
with Leo. It's always
He's
Kate.
never there.
Kate Winslet loves
Kate
talking
Winslet
about
and James Cameron, they're like really good. They're really good friends, you know. Like she's always there.
Yeah.
James Cameron has also said that he doesn't really like talk. They're not like that close in contact, because I don't know. They just, he said once, Leo's got shit to do. I got shit to do.
Do you because I did an episode for Avatar Day, which is a new event that's coming up, created by fans.
Oh yeah, I saw him on Twitter, I think.
Yeah. And so one of the questions I asked, his name's Jeff, the guy who created it, and I was like, who do you want to see cast in like the next Avatar film? And so I'm going to ask you the same question. Who do you want to see?
That's a really good question.
In the next Avatar film?
That's a really good question.
Like from a previous Cameron film.
From a previous Cameron film.
Like someone he's worked with before.
Can he? I want Michael Biehn.
Well, he was going to be the Stephen Lang character.
That makes sense.
Quaritch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's who that was going to be. And then Cameron felt like people would associate aliens too much because of Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, true. I think, I also read that once, actually, I think.
So.
That's a good question, actually.
Michael Biehn. Yep.
Michael Biehn would be good, I think.
I had a podcast in 2019 called Terminator 101, and it was all in preparation for Dark Fate, which was coming out in 2019. So I was super hyped for it. And so I did a bunch of interviews, and my very last interview on that podcast is Michael Biehn. Yes,
I saw that. I saw that you interviewed him, and I was like, that guy talked to Michael Biehn.
Yeah, trust me.
Wow.
That's how I was reacting too. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to talk to Michael Biehn. What the hell?
Michael Biehn.
And it was all because of his wife, Jennifer. She set that up.
Yes. She was in Dark Angel, right? I learned that recently, that because I was like, I connected the dots recently, that I was like, wait, they're married.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So, but that was
that's cool.
like the funny thing I remember when I did that. I didn't do the interviews like this.
Mhm.
I did them on my phone, and it was an app that I would have the guests download, and then we would talk like this. And so when I connected with Michael, when it said you are now connected or whatever, I picked up the phone, and the first thing I was hearing was I was going, Michael, Michael, and all I could hear was it sounded like a fridge door opening, and then some ruffling around, and then it sounded like a fridge door closing. So in my mind, what I think happened was he picked up the phone, but before he wanted to start talking, he went in the fridge and got like a sandwich or something. And then he shut the door, and then he went, hello.
That's so funny.
So
Oh.
I haven't confirmed that, but that's what it sounded like. It sounded like a
Oh my
fridge door
God.
opening. So, but yeah,
Oh.
he's sort of like the top when it comes to the actors that I've talked to. I've talked to other actors that have been, supporting
Mhm.
and stuff. Like for this podcast, I've talked to Jeanette Goldstein and a bunch of people that have worked, but I've never gone beyond Michael Biehn. I've never talked to Linda Hamilton and it's mainly because they don't have social media presences. Like Linda Hamilton is not on social media,
Yeah,
and it's sort of hard to get in touch with her in the first place.
that's true.
And Arnold's
Yeah.
not going to read a DM I sent him.
Arnold, please respond to my DMs.
But
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Michael Bihn's good. Whenever Michael Biehn talks about James Cameron, I think yesterday I rewatched the Abyss making of, and
Mhm.
it's Michael Biehn in that. It's so funny because everybody's like, God, this was the most harrowing, most difficult shoot of my life, so horrible. And then here comes Michael Biehn, and he's like,
It was fun.
I thought it was fun. I had fun. Like everybody is just like recounting these absolute horror stories, which I trust them. I'm sure it was not a pleasant shoot. And then here comes Michael Biehn, and he's like, I had fun. I think it was a really interesting shoot. I'm like, I'm glad you had fun, Michael. I'm glad you had fun.
Oh, and he has like you pointed out, he has one hell of a killer mustache in that movie.
Beautiful mustache.
Oh
I
man.
just his characters. I think Michael Biehn as an actor, I think he's so underrated because he's so good. Like I was like recently, every time I rewatch The Terminator, I'm like, this guy Michael Biehn, he's so good. He's really good.
Yeah, he is. He's very underrated, and he has a new podcast. Did you know he has a new podcast?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, here, I'll pull it up here. And we won't listen to it, but just so you know about
That's
it,
cool. Gotta
so
check
you can
that out.
you can deep dive. What's it called here? Doing this one-handed. Right here. Show, share screen, yes. All right, so it's called Just Fooling About.
Oh, fun. I need to check that out.
Right here. And I'm subscribed on my other account. This is my girlfriend's account. But he has an Edward Furlong interview.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's just him and
That's
Edward
fun.
Furlong talking. Look at him. There
he is.
What a goober.
God, I don't know how deep you have delved into Michael Bihn's filmography, but me and my best friend, her name is Abby, and we have deep dived down to the bottom. We have like been to places. Michael Bihn's filmography has taken me to places I wouldn't even go with a gun. It's like we found this recording of like a theater play thing. It's called, and there is only the German title available on Letterboxd. It's called Die Nacht aus Blei, and it's like this weird, artistic, surreal kind of theater play, which Michael Biehn is in for some reason. And the only version that you can find on it is like with a German dub. I have no idea.
You can understand it. I can't.
I can't understand it. And we and I was just like, how the hell? He probably doesn't even remember doing that, TBH. But I'm just so
TBH.
I'm just amazed at the stuff that I have dug up sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's is English your first or second language?
It's my second language.
So you learned German first.
I learned German first. I live in Austria. German and English is my second language. I also learned French, but I cannot speak French for the life of me, which is really funny because you know, when James Cameron was like, he's having his exhibition in France right now, and all of the interviews that they do with him over there, the French, they just insist on dubbing him over with like really loud French dubbing. So whenever I listen to interviews from that, I always have to like split my ears. I'm gonna be like, what is he saying? Okay, I still understand a little bit. Okay, I think I get like the general point. Help, I should have paid more attention in French class.
Yeah, that also bugs me. I want that expedition to go on like a global tour, you know?
Yes, I was planning on flying to Paris, but they have a summer break. I was literally about like to book my like flight tickets, but then I like check, you know, I was like checking the thing, and they're like, oh, we're on like summer break at that time, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, okay, well, guess I didn't even want to go to Paris anyways.
Right.
Yeah, they should do that though.
No, they should. No. And look, it's very impressive that you speak 2 languages. I can only
thank you.
I only speak English. I wish I could speak some other languages, but my parents never really kind of made that a thing. I'm guessing your parents were like, yo, you have to learn English.
No, you have to learn English in school here, actually.
Oh, really?
No. Like, this is like a like you have to learn English, and you have to like graduate into. So it's like you have to learn English as a second language.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is, I was also in my private time, I always spoke a lot of English, so that's why I'm kind of fluent with it.
How would you say this in German? James Cameron is my dream girl.
Okay, this is gonna sound ridiculous because everything sounds absolutely ridiculous in German. James Cameron ist mein Traummädchen. Mädchen sounds a really silly word. German is such a funny language.
Well, what's funny to me is the fact that there isn't a German word for is my, because you said is my, right?
Yes.
So there isn't a German word for is?
Ist mein. I guess. Ist mein. So I guess that's the translation.
And then say this: if you dislike James Cameron's Oscar speech, you are mean.
Okay. Wenn du James Camerons Oscar-Rede nicht magst, dann bist du gemein.
Oh my gosh.
This is a great fun party trick. I can speak German.
No, it's great. Anytime I find out someone can speak another language, I'm like, all right, can you alternate back to English and then to the other language?
Oh God, you know, here we have a thing. Sometimes it's called like Denglish, where when people have like this weird mix where they're talking with like English and German, and a lot of people do that. I have also been there, so you know, I can switch pretty fast.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So look, we're approaching the 50-ish minute mark here. So
wow, we've been talking.
We're gonna wind down. But perfect. I will say, if you're down for it, definitely want to have you come back on the podcast because this was a lot of fun.
This was so much fun.
The original plan was to do a Abyss tier list ranking, but I felt like since I didn't know, I just met you, I felt like we should just do like a talking episode and then do the next episode, do that.
Great.
So we'll do that next. And
awesome. Let's talk about the Abyss.
Yeah. Before we wrap up here, I ask all new guests that come on the podcast this question. What is your all-time number one, you have to pick one, favorite Cameron film? I know.
Okay, I love all of his movies, but I think it's probably Titanic.
Yes, that's
me. It's Titanic. It's Titanic. I mean, it's Titanic. Like, I can't even say like this. I think Titanic is literally the perfect movie. I mean, it
is. Have you listened to? There's a podcast that I was on, and I'm good friends with the host. It's called James Cameron's Titanic Scene by Scene.
No, I've not listened. I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts, but that sounds interesting.
It's literally Brittany is her name. She's the main host, and then Ethan, the co-host. They go by the DVD menu, and they literally each episode is a scene from the DVD menu. And they invited me on to talk about my favorite scene from that movie, which is when they're trying to save that little boy, and the the doors open and the
Oh,
water
yeah.
rushes in. That is my all-time favorite.
Oh, it's so good.
It's goosebumping, dude. Like I get goosebumps every time I watch
Yes.
it. I literally have it saved here, like ready to go for any guest that doesn't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, you don't know
I
what
know.
that scene?
You don't know
Like-
that scene? I know that scene. I watch Titanic every month. Like I have like this rule with myself that I need to watch Titanic at least one time a month, or else I cannot function properly.
Yeah,
as a
wow, that's
person.
impressive. That's a 3-hour commitment. you
It's a
have to make.
3-hour commitment. But the thing is, then I just pop it in, and then I just lay down on my couch, and then I'm just there for 3 hours. The thing is, I can also not interrupt Titanic. It's like a movie that when I put it on, I'm not gonna like get up and like make something to eat. I can't do it. I did it once. Once I had to like eat something in the middle, and I felt like an empty wreck the entire time. I was there. I was sitting my dinner. I was eating like, God.
But yeah, definitely check. I mean, I know you don't listen to many podcasts, but if you find, do you have like Apple or Spotify or?
Yeah, Spotify. That's where I listen.
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
Cool.
So,
Cool. That sounds really cool.
But look, Elvira, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Your first of, I hope, many episodes here on the podcast.
I hope so too.
And definitely want to do that Abyss tier list ranking because I've done Aliens, T2, Terminator, and Titanic so far. So I'm trying to cover the other one.
That's cool. I was actually yesterday I was rewatching The Abyss. I was already thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rank these characters.
Yeah, see, I saw you do that, and I was like, oh, like I feel bad that I'm gonna tell her.
Don't worry, I would have. Don't worry, I can always rewatch The Abyss.
What cut do you prefer?
This is actually a good question because The Abyss is the only James Cameron movie where I cannot really pick a favorite cut because I like the theatrical. I do always end up watching the special edition because I think that the theatrical cut, I like that it makes it more into a contained story with just Lindsay and Bud and their divorce. And the special edition.
I know how much you love Divorce. I know how much you love Divorce.
Oh God,
Twister.
Oh my God, the Divorce. I love Divorce, the movies. Absolutely fascinated by it. Where was I? Yeah, and then the special edition makes it more into like a global thing. Because with the other James Cameron movies, I can always tell you immediately which cut of his movie I like the best. But with The Abyss, I'm sometimes like, well, they're both kind of interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I do always go for the special edition.
Cool. All right. Well, you'll definitely be back here on the podcast. We'll have a lot more conversation down the road. But
awesome.
Everybody, I will have Elvira's links down below. If you're on Letterboxd, go check her out. If you're on X, check her out. Instagram, you have some really good. You
I draw a lot. Yeah, I don't really post my art that much today, but I do draw a lot.
Yeah, you got some good, some like Jack Dawson-esque drawings on there.
Oh, thank you.
So you draw James Cameron like a French girl.
That's the most wonderful thing I've ever heard about my art. Thank you.
Have you ever thought about doing that, like doing the rose drawing, but James Cameron?
No, I think I have too much shame to do that. But I draw him. I love drawing him. He has such a. I don't think that there's a person out there who has drawn James Cameron's face as much as I have.
Maybe that's a world record.
It must have been some kind of world record. I don't know. I'm fascinated by his face. So guess that yeah.
It's a great face. All right. Everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Like I always tell you, go watch a Cameron film.